Hi there! In this short video we're going to look at WebViewer and how we can see the author of annotations that have been added to a PDF. So let's add a free text annotation to the document and we'll just put Apryse is great. If we now click on the comments pane to show that, we'll be able to see our annotation, who the author is and the time when the annotation was created. It even tells us what the text was and tells us the colour. In this case, the author is guessed because I hadn't said who the user was. Let's make some changes to the code so that I can specify a user and reload the file. In practice, you'd do this using some sort of authentication mechanism, but for now I'm just going to allow the name to be entered via an HTML input element. So we'll log in as Justin and then we'll add some new text, this time in green. Now we can see that Justin says in green, yes, I agree. And our guest author said Apryse is great. Now already there's a difference because we're logged on. In that Justin, you'll see there are 3 dots. And this means that he is able to delete annotations that he created. But he can't delete those created by our guest. If you're interested in changing the way that these default permissions work, then check out the annotation permission sample on the Apryse showcase. Now let's add another user called Sally. And Sally wants to highlight some text within the PDF. And now we can see we have 3 different authors within the annotations. And this is a great way of getting started. But we'll quickly run into the problem of perhaps clashes with names. Maybe we'll get another person called Justin joining the company who works on a different PDF. Or Sally might want to change her name, perhaps to Sally the Wonderful or just plain Sal. We could solve the problem of a user wanting to change their name by exporting the annotations as an XFDF file and modifying that, then re-importing it. But it doesn't solve the problem of what happens if we have 2 users with the same name. A better solution would be for each user to have an ID that represents them. Let's start again and use IDs rather than names. 4301 relates to Justin. We can add text just to the 4 and that's great. Now let's log on as Sally as 5648 and add an annotation for her, a highlight as we did before. And whilst we can see that both annotations were created by different people, the author is now the ID and not the user name. How are we going to get around the fact that 4301 and 5648 are not very intuitive? Well, Annotation Manager has a mechanism whereby there can be both an author and a display author, and we can map from one to the other. So we can have the author as our ID and the display author as any text that we want. All that we need to do to implement this is to use the method setAnnotationDisplayAuthorMap and specify the mapping. So I've reloaded the file, and now when we look at the annotations, we can see that the authors are Justin and Sally, just as we wanted. What's great about this is we can change Sally's name if we want, and that update will appear in every single PDF that uses her ID. Or we could add another Justin, in this case with an ID of 8435, and we'll give both Justins their full names so we can tell them apart. Now if we log on with our new ID of 8435 for our second Justin, they can add an annotation, perhaps a freehand highlight, and we can now tell which author created which annotation in the pane. That's awesome. We've got all the benefits of IDs, and yet we've still got friendly names available so we understand what's going on. I've only shown you a tiny fraction of the functionality of WebViewer, so try it out, or watch more of these videos or read the blogs. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.